Hello, good afternoon there. If you can hear me and if you're joining me, this is an impromptu class, and I will tell you why I have to come up with this. In the last days, several people have been sending me messages. How do I plant cassava? And what species do I plant? Somebody said I should do this, somebody said I should do that. And I just felt I should share my experience. So many times I know I'll fix time and said I will do this, but you see, it's not been easy. Completing the farm, I'm working on so many projects, and I still have to be on the farm. So I will just be brief about this. We'll be discussing cassava right now. Okay, I just read something right now. The person said cassava is the easiest thing for you. So cassava is the easiest thing for you to plant. You just the person said the cassava is the easiest thing for you to plant. You don't need to plow or till the soil. You just put the stem down into the soil and then it's produced for you. You see, that is so not true. I'm going to share my experience, and I'm going to tell you my experience with cassava and the way you need to plant cassava if you really want to maximize your profits. Now, in 2013 or 12, I called on a group of people and said, look, let's go and plant cassava. Actually, before calling on them, I've read so much on internet, where they wrote that you plant cassava 18, you plant an hectare of cassava and you can harvest 18 tons per hectare. Yes. And then the calculation, they say you can harvest 30 tons per hectare. 30 tons and the calculation they give us is that an hectare will be selling for like 18,000. So what I simply just did then is I just multiply 18,000 multiplied by 30. Multiply by 30 tons, 18,000 naira multiplied by 30 tons, and it's giving almost 600,000 on 1 hectare. And just like somebody is right now telling some other people, and just like somebody is telling you too, they are telling you that, okay, don't worry, it's very simple. You just cut the stem, put it into the soil, and you are good to go. You harvest 30 tons. It is so not true. It is not true. I actually planted 20 hectares, which is 50 acres. Now, I will start with one. If you are planting cassava, there's no way you can get maximum yield from cassava if you don't till the soil. You know what I mean by tilling the soil? By making ridges. If you don't make ridges, as in you don't make your ridges, the hips, cassavas are tubers, and because cassava are tubers, the tubers, for it to enlarge and expand, it needs loose soil. So if you just dig it into one soil and you're expecting one big tubers, you are deceiving yourself. Cassava is like yam. Why did we make big hips for yam? Farmer believes that when you are planting yam, the moment the bigger the hips, as in that mound they make, the bigger the mound, the bigger the size of the yam. So how then did you expect cassava to give you high yield, high big tubers without tilling the soil, without loosening the soil? So the number one thing is, if you are doing cassava, first, my brother, my sister, make sure the soil is properly loose. You need to plow. Even if you can afford, make ridges. It is inside that ridges that the tuber will expand and be able to get big. If you can afford, make ridges. If you don't make, you are just deceiving yourself. So you make ridges and till the soil. Forget about those people that just say put the stem in and you get a result. That one sorted out. Another mindset most of us have again about cassava is, okay, look, if you plant cassava, you have to plant TME 419 or TGS 1212 and all these things. Honestly, I'm going to explain how it works for you. If you plant, when I wanted to plant mine that time, I told you I planted 20 hectares. I went to look for TME 419 because they said this TME will give you 30 tons per hectare. Now, the TME 419 that you are looking for, TME, you see, the people that produce TME 419 and TGS 1414 and TGS, they are different names anyway. Let me not be cramming names for you. So the people that produce this, they produce it in mind so that they expect that when you plant that type of cassava, the water content, you know what we call water content? Water content means starch content. The water, the liquid inside that cassava will increase. So it is that water content that the company, those big companies like Thai farming. There's a farm called Thai farming. I've been there. There's um uh, about they are different. I don't want to be remembering their names. At least I've been to 3 or 4 of the processing factories of cassava. It is that starch content, the water content in the cassava that they want to buy from you. So these hybrid people that are producing hybrid, they are producing what will suit the purpose of those companies. Now let me give you another something there. If you now plant those TME 419, all those ones that the starch, the water content will be high. If you take this to those companies, if you can eventually move it, the companies are located there's one in Agbara, there's one in Ososa in Ogun State, there's one in Oyo. The one in Oyo State doesn't even take from anybody. They have the farmers they work with. If you are not one of their farmers, they will not take cassava from you. At least I've mentioned them like that. If you now take those cassava to them, especially the one in Ososa, the Thai farm in Ososa, or those ones, there's one, I can't remember the name of Agbara. If you take those cassava stems to them, one, they will tell you they are measuring the water content inside. How they measure it, I don't know. I was at Thai farm, we went with samples. They put it on top of one old type of measurement that you cannot read. They just do abracadabra. Yes, I'm telling you the story of 2014. They just did one abracadabra and told us this is the starch content. How can we that went to school, we got there, we can't read there's nothing to read. There's a way they do, I don't know, one is outside the entire farm or so. Yes, you should test. So they just did it, and they will be the one to tell you this is starch content, and they will tell you they're only paying for the starch content. Yes, they will be paying for the starch content only. So I don't know how they get that result. I don't know. So it's just that personally to me, it's like you're just going there to throw your cassava away, because how can you tell me you are measuring starch content that I don't know how to read, and then you are the one that will give me, okay, it's 10%, it's 15, it's 12 or whatever, and you will pay with that price. That's one about cassava. Now, if you still plant that TME, whatever, and you take it to these companies, now, let me now give you one funny thing. If you plant the TME cassava, whatever, there's another thing. I will loop them together now. If during time that there's no scarcity of cassava, do you know whether you plant TME, whether you plant the local cassava, you are going to sell the same price in the market. A rural farmer in my local village here or in some other places that plants ordinary cassava that didn't bother about TME, TGS, whatever, and you that planted TME, TGS and all this, you bought it, you pay highly for them. Some people travel so far as to go to IITA, but they're just scamming you people. I'm sorry to use that word. So when you get that cassava stem, it is the same time. If cassava is scarce in the market, both the local one and the hybrid will command high price. If cassava is surplus in the market, both the local one and the hybrid, wo ẹ ti tú gbogbo ẹran mi sí, mo wà online o, gbogbo àwọn ẹran mi ti jáde, ẹ tilẹ̀kùn mi. Máa lọ, mo wà online, ó ń gbọ́, máa lọ. Kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀? Kí ló fẹ́ gbà tẹ́lẹ̀? To go there now. Okay, guys, let me be back in 2 minutes. They want me at the station. I'll be back in 2 minutes.